My name is Lauren Simonutti, and this show is 8 rooms, 7 mirrors, 6 clocks, 2 minds, and 199 panes of glass, which is the itemization of the environment in which I've been living and working in relative isolation for the past 3 2/3 years. I acquired a house in late 2002. It was a wreck of a house, and at some point, restoration became recreation, at times obsessive. The house became my whole world. In retrospect, it was preparation for what was to come, although I did not know it at the time. The house was also the model for my first comprehensive large format project and marked the beginning of my switch from enlarging to contact printing. As time progressed, the house became my backdrop, my setting, my refuge, and eventually a collaborator as I began to bleed myself into the frame. But in the end, it's all about the disease. First it made the house, and then it made me. The interim story, which I will not tell here, is long, circuitous, an uninsured hospital monkey dance of frequent fits and starts, decline, sought after redemption, diagnosis, departure, voices, and the absence of quiet. The isolation was voluntary, but not quite self-imposed. People become embarrassed, they become angry, they become confused, and then they leave. To give it a name, it's rapid cycling mixed state bipolar with schizoaffective disorder. I was always aware that the things I see and hear are not real, but it doesn't mean I still don't see and hear them. So I decided that I could either document my ascension from madness to as much a level of sanity for which one of my composition could hope, or I could leave a document of it all in the case that I should lose. I watch a movie every morning. I probably usually get up around 4 and watch a movie before I start my day. That's to give me some sort of, just a break from the world. Frequently I see something visually that's interesting. I just find it a pleasant way to start the day. One of the side effects of bipolar is disorganized thought. So everything has to be very organized. I have notepads with exactly what must be done during the day. I have Excel spreadsheets of things that have already been done because I have no short-term memory. So once I check that and do all just basic necessities, it depends on whether I was intending to shoot that day. If I'm in the middle of the series, then it's either going to be a morning shot or a late afternoon shot. And frequently I'll set it up and just wait for the light. Music actually is more of a tool. I never listen to music except I'm in the darkroom. That is the only time. And I use music because I don't particularly I like clocks, but none of the clocks in my house have the right time because I just don't bother changing it. So I don't have a clock in the darkroom. So if I need to know how long to process my film, I put the film in the developer, then turn on a song that I know the length of, and when the song ends, then it gets moved. So I process by music, using it as a timer. All the objects, most of the objects, are found objects. On occasion, I like dollar stores. I would get props in dollar stores. But most of the objects are found objects. The horse I found probably on the street in Philadelphia, so that's 20 some odd years ago, and I've carried it with me from place to place. I do reuse the same props, but I try not to be redundant. So either they're disguised or they're moved or they're shown from a different aspect than they had been previously. The house is very vivid. As I said, at some point restoration became recreation. Each room has entirely different characteristics and color. Each thing is incredibly vibrantly, vividly colored. I don't shoot color photography, but I use it very much in my day-to-day life. Soft colors for safe havens, like the bedroom, vivid colors for a room that should be active, like a library. The shooting room changes constantly. I have to paint and repaint and dress and redress that wall because I shoot in such a small area that it has to appear different for each series. Because that's what I have. Photographically, that 3 foot by 5 foot by 8 foot space is the whole world, with very few exceptions. I've had very little human contact. My first show in years was in Australia last year. And people were very open and very nice, although they tended to avoid saying much. I haven't had a show in the US. The people that have seen the work online are usually very receptive. Half the people are appreciative because they have been diagnosed or think there's something wrong with them and they think they're freaks. And nobody talks about it. For years, my mother didn't tell my relatives, and we're a close family. For years, they just thought I was in the hospital all the time. I don't know if they thought I was dying or what. But I refused to not mention it because it didn't do anything wrong. This is something that you're born with. And there's no shame to being born with a mental illness. Only if you know you have one and you don't do anything about it do you become at fault.